right, it's a special month this week, or this month. We have a special chapel this week. I'm going to step out of the way, and we'll begin our time together.
Good afternoon, Spencerville. How you guys doing? All right, so the choir, we have two pieces for you in honor of Black History Month Chapel, and we would like to share with you two little pieces we've been working on. So we're going to start with this great little piece by Mark Hayes called Deep River, and this is one you know. The second one I'll have to talk a little bit about. All right. So we'd like to share this next song with you. It's called No Color. It is by a composer by the name of Stacy Gibb and another composer. I'll get you his name. Sean Kirchner. These two composers, one's black and one's white. And I think they did it together on purpose because the message is pertinent to Black History Month. In this message, it talks about having a serious conversation. Sometimes serious conversations are tough because there might be an issue that might be sensitive. And whenever you're talking about color, that can be really sensitive sometimes. But in order for us to grow and to become closer to one another, we have to have that conversation. So this is the message of no color. It's having a difficult conversation. But when you have that difficult conversation, and if that conversation is led by the Holy Spirit, love happens. When we have love, and I'm not talking about worldly love, I'm talking about God's love. Amazing things can happen between us. The differences in our color no longer mean anything. It's about who we are as people, who we are as children of Christ. And in that, amazing things can happen. So you're going to hear it in the music. Little difficult conversation to have, but in the end, beautiful harmony comes out of it. I hope you enjoy No Color.
Between us, no shade to be thrown, no tongue be taken to demean us, no hue of hate to be shown, no color, no shade, no tongue, let me be transparent with you. No color, no, history is whose? Walking in whose shoes?
choir. You guys did a beautiful job. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adia Burley, and I am CAS, Cultural Appreciation Society Vice President. Today, we will be taking over chapel. We have music, games, and a wonderful message all coming your way. But before I go on, I would like to leave you with a poem by Mary McLeod Bethune. I leave you love. Love builds, it is positive and helpful. It is more beneficial than hate. Inquires quickly, forgotten, quickly pass away. Personally and racially, our enemies must be forgiven. Our aim must be to create a world of fellowship and justice, where no man's skin color or religion is held against him. Love thy neighbor is a precept which could transform the world if it is universally practiced. It's Cannot's brotherhood, and to me, brotherhood of man, is the noblest concept in all human relations. Loving your neighbor means being interracial, interreligious, and international. Hope you guys enjoy. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. So we're gonna have a whole little game being played. I know that it's National Black History Month, but we're gonna find out what the Black History Month of our school is. So if I could have 2 volunteers from each class to come up here. Yeah? What? If you guys can turn off the PowerPoint, turn off the PowerPoint. Okay. Freshmen? Do we have freshmen? No. Juniors, seniors. We need 2 sophomores and 2 freshmen. Yeah. You guys freshmen? Freshmen? Okay, sophomores. Oh, we don't have sophomores. Okay, seniors are right here. Seniors, stand right here. Juniors, stand right there. Yeah. We need 2 sophomores. Okay. Yeah. Wait, don't start yet. Don't start yet. Okay. So what we're going to have them do is we're going to see who can put together these pieces of our Black history first. And then whoever wins can get a prize. So I hope you guys are good at puzzles. Put together the piece. Okay, ready, set, go.
While they are working on the puzzle, we're going to go through some Spencerville Black history facts. First of all, how long has Spencerville been in existence? What was the first year of school? Not 18 anything. Was the first year of Spencerville. Now, we have yearbooks and we have records, but we couldn't go through all the records. So can somebody tell me or take a guess of what year we have the record of our first students? We had 18 Black students in this particular year. That's the earliest yearbook that we have. They were probably here before, but the first pictorial record we have is the 18 Black students. Can anyone guess what year that was that these students were here? Not 1972. Chase. A little later. Who said 1968? Okay, so we got 2. It was actually 1969. We had 18 Black students in our yearbook. I didn't hear you, I'm sorry. We had 18 Black students in our yearbook. How close are they? Okay, they're still working on that. Anyone wants to take the guess of what year we had our first teacher at Spencerville, our first black teacher? What year? It's not 2000. Before 1999. Dallas? No. Nick? It's in the 80s. 19, wait, let me make sure I'm telling you all the right things. Oh no, sorry. She ended in the 80s. She started in the 70s. She started 1979 to 1988. She was a teacher here. Okay, two more. What year did we have our first black valedictorian? Now, let me give you some background. We didn't start our high school until 1993. 90 what? 90 something is when we started high school. What year did we have our first black valedictorian? 2003. What year did we have our first salutatorian? That's the second highest in the class. Somebody said it over here, 2009 is when we had our, okay, there we go. That's when we had our first salutatorian. Okay, they are still working, so we're gonna go ahead to the PowerPoint. If you could turn that on for me. I didn't do this first one. So Cliff Wright is our first African-American administrator. I believe he was here 2015 to 2017. He was a high school vice principal, Clifford Wright. Next slide. This is our teacher, Mrs. Spears. She was here from 1979 to 1988. Next picture. Ebony Frazier was the class of 2003. She's a valedictorian. She actually still lives in the area in Gaithersburg. Next. Richardson Chatham, class of 2009, salutatorian. Ooh, that's bad spelling on my part. He's actually my godbrother. Unfortunately, he passed away about 6 years ago. Really cool, intense young man. And there's our final slide with all the people there. So Spencerville does have Black history. Mr. Martinez mentioned something with the last song about no color and not that there is no color, but color should not be a barrier between us. And I know Spencerville Adventist Academy does have a quasi bad rap in the area, but you can let people, instead of engaging with the conversation, you can let people know the good things that have happened at Spencerville. I can say that Spencerville is a wonderful institution. I've been here 3 times. I did student teaching here back when Spencerville was only up to 8th grade in the old building. And then I came back and I did substitute teaching in the old building again. It was up to 12th grade. They could do amazing things with space. And now I'm here. And to see the school grow from back then it was really small, but it was a wonderful experience and opportunity. And I talk about Spencerville as much as I can wherever I go. But the positive knowledge in the community can only come from you. So as you speak positively about the school that you're in to other people, when they say something negative, we can't own what's negative about us and about where we are, but we don't have to live and manifest in it. We can change. The world is changing, and we can also change. All right, guys, are y'all close to finish? Okay, so, but at least they tried putting the puzzle together, and we'll get something for each of you. Alyssa? Okay, so the freshmen are the winners. They got the most done. The freshmen finished first, followed by the juniors. Okay. All right.
pray you'll be alright. And watch us where we go. And help us to be wise. In times when we don't know. This be our prayer. We lose our way. Lead us to a place. Guide us with your grace. To a place where we'll be safe.
La luce che tu dai,
Find your light.
cuore resterà.
Hold it in our hearts.
Ricordarci che
Stars go out each night.
eterna stella sei.
Ooh, oh,
Nella mia preghiera
let this be our prayer.
quanta felice
When shadows fill our day.
lead us to a place,
Guide us with your grace.
give us faith so we'll be
safe.
Sogniamo un mondo senza più violenza, un mondo di giustizia, di speranza. Ognuno di la mano al sol, vicino, simbolo di pace, di fraternità. La forza che ci dà
Wings that light become.
desiderio che
And watch us from above.
ognuno troviamo
We hoping so we'll find
torno dentro sé.
another soul to love.
Let this be our prayer.
This be prayer.
Just like every child,
Just like every child needs to find a place. Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be safe.
Ella chiede che aia seo in noi.
Sento che ti salverà.
Okay, thank you guys for that. So I'm going to be announcing our speaker for today. Corey Howard was born in Buffalo, New York, and raised by his super loving mother. Playing football growing up and pretty much enjoying all sports was how he preferred spending his free time. But most of all, he enjoyed being with his friends. Many of the friends he met as a youth were through the church he attended. This is where the building of his core values were learned and gained, in addition to a faith that helped him persevere through many of life's most challenging times. While in his senior year of high school, Major Howard competed for a four-year Army ROTC scholarship and became the first awardee from the city of Buffalo. And upon receiving that scholarship, he chose to attend Norfolk State, where he studied criminal justice until graduating in 2001. Upon graduating, Corey entered into the U.S. Army as a second lieutenant. Over the last 21 years, the military provided him an opportunity to see and interact with people from all over the world, which has become a source of knowledge, appreciation, and highest admiration for all cultures and people. Lastly, and most importantly, Major Corey Howard is the proud father of his 17-year-old daughter, Isyana, who is currently attending her freshman year at Xavier University in New Orleans, pursuing an MD in psychiatry. Okay. And since he wasn't able to come here in person, we'll have him join through Zoom on the screen. So you guys can all join me in a round of applause to welcome him.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Spencerville. How you doing? Can you hear me? Okay. First, I want to apologize for not being present physically, but I greatly appreciate the opportunity to speak to you, and I look forward to the opportunity in the future to be physically present while speaking. Also, I'd like to thank Mr. Regis for inviting me, and I want to give a big shout out to Alyssa for helping coordinate all the communication as far as this virtual setup. Her work ethic and helping me out get situated was amazing. Thank you. And Mr. Sopa for helping coordinate it as well. First of all, I want to mention the energy in the room and the energy from the presenters prior to me coming aboard. It was really motivating and inspiring hearing each one of you. I was really taken aback when I listened to the poem that was authored by Miss Mary McLeod. And if you noticed in my my brief introduction there, I mentioned my loving mother, and that was prior to knowing that poem that focused on love was going to be introduced today. And the reason I mentioned that is I really truly believe love has been the key ingredient to helping me succeed in life. And sometimes we get love from different persons. It could be a mother, a father, a family member, a mentor. You know, and it being Black History Month, you know, in the African American culture, I think love is such a important characteristic. So I wanted to emphasize what a great poem choice and how influential love can be in one's success. While I was speaking to Alyssa via text within the last couple of days, I asked her what she thought might be a good topic. And, you know, obviously it being Black History Month, you know, she mentioned diversity and inclusiveness. And when I received that message, you know, I thought about my upbringing. And, you know, I'm a product of an African American father and an Italian American mother. So I thought, sometimes I believe, who could be a better message, a better sender of a message than somebody that grew up a biracial kid back in, you know, the early 80s, early 90s, when sometimes it was very difficult and there was a lot of peer pressure, a lot of maybe name calling, and a lot of love I had to find in myself in order to persevere through some of the challenge. You know, we say, you know, the joning in school, or, you know, the laughs, or the ribbon, or how, you know, whatever words we use now. You know, I had to use the love that my mother provided to help me, you know that I was loved, know that I was important, and know that I could succeed out here in the world, going through school. And just like each one of you sitting in those seats, each one of you are so vitally important. And you may not know why or what your purpose is, but I can absolutely, without a doubt, share with each one of you, even though I don't know you, is that if you, the individual, don't contribute what your purpose is or what you can do, that purpose will go unfulfilled. It'll absolutely go unfulfilled. When you become an adult, when you guys are young adult, 14 to 18, high school freshmen to seniors, which is crucially important. I speak to kids all over the country and all over the world, and I tell them the decisions they make between 13 and 17 are going to impact them for the rest of their life. In my introduction, I told you, I think when I went to high school, I joined JROTC. I was 13 years old as a high school freshman. That decision set the trajectory for the rest of my life. Yeah, at least for the last 25 years. And I'm retiring at the end of the year. But joining the Army, being a part of the military has set me up for success for after retirement. How does that relate? I want to relate that back to being a young African-American young man, a biracial kid, is that what I can do now is I can come back into my communities all across America and mentor young African-American men, African-American young women, and anybody. It's not race. It's not limited to race. Like I said, my mother, growing up in an Italian American home, I had friends all across the different demographics, and growing up in Buffalo was pretty interesting because Buffalo was a pretty segregated city growing up. The African Americans were in one neighborhood, the Puerto Ricans were in another neighborhood, the Asians, and then the white Americans were in another neighborhood. But the interesting thing was right across the border there was Canada, which I used to travel to a lot as a young kid. And I used to go to Toronto. And Toronto had always been, over the last 10, 20, 30 years, one of the most diverse cities in the world. And what I realized as a young man was that city was lit. Like it was lit. It was popping. It was great. There was so much business. There was so much interaction. There was so much success. And I realized as a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kid, the more diversity, the more inclusion equaled higher levels of success. So, for me, I always tried to diversify my friends, the environments I hung out in, and the people and the things I took part in, whether it was music, whether it was art, whatever it could be. I try to diversify that. And I think through that, it empowered me and assisted me in learning and understanding people. Then, like I said, after graduation, joining the military, which happens to be not one of the most, probably the most diverse organization in the world. The U.S. Army, with about 2 million personnel, active duty soldiers, you have people from every background. And what that does for us as far as the military is it helps us understand different perspectives. So that gives us strength. It's strength in diversity, which I like to push on a lot of the young soldiers, the young 17, 18-year-old soldiers coming into the force, because they're often coming from neighborhoods that are not really the most diverse. So once again, I think I know that there's strength in diversity and then inclusion. What I wanted to focus on, in addition to the diversity and inclusion, was the fundamentals. I call it the fundamentals of success. You guys are in such a crucial period of your life, because after high school, they used to call it the real world. You'll be entering the real world. This is when sometimes our mothers and fathers or our mentors can't be responsible for the decisions we make. And if I could give you, I'll start out with just 3 fundamentals, and then I'll expound on them a little bit before wrapping up here. I don't want to take too much of your time. I know it's difficult, especially over the virtual space. But 3 fundamentals that I've learned to be, very advantageous for me and people that I have helped. One is knowledge. You know, I heard you guys researching who was the first Black valedictorian, you know, who were the first Black students. And that took research, you know, and when you, that research is so important because that's how you gain your knowledge. And that knowledge brings confidence. You guys are taking tests in high school every week, every day maybe. You know when you're more knowledgeable about a topic, you're more confident and you're better prepared to get a good grade and be successful in that class. That knowledge is key, but that knowledge does not come without work. You can't you can't not crack them books and just think you can go to sleep, play video games, and hang out with your friends and receive that knowledge. You got to do that work. That's what the next foundational step is, fundamental step is. The next step is your energy. Energy. I listened to some of your speakers, some of the persons that were presenting the poems, and just the introductions, the energy in the room, the energy by the speakers, the confidence. You know, people in hiring positions, they want somebody with energy. You know, and to me, and to many others, the energy is the opposite of being lazy and not willing to put the required amount of work into being successful. So be energetic, and that energeticness will be followed by your confidence that you'll have through your knowledge. So you have your knowledge, you have your energy, and then last but not least, we say your integrity. Your integrity. You know, your character. And you know, I'm sure, you know, with the background of your school and the Christian base there, you know, character, integrity, these are values that are absolutely critical with your faith and just out here in society. You know, Warren Buffett mentioned one time, he mentioned, you can have somebody with all the knowledge, all the energy, but if they lack integrity, he doesn't want them. And I would submit to you, nobody, you guys got friends. I'm sure all you have friends that you love. Just like I have, you know, I've known Mr. Regis for over 25 years. And he is a man of upstanding character and integrity. I'll be first to say, I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I'm not the most athletic person in the building, but my character, my integrity, and my work ethic helped me attain the levels of success that I've attained. Mr. Regis, his level of character and integrity have assisted him in receiving, you know, the promotions and the positions that he has. Integrity. You guys with your friends, I'm sure even with your friends, your family members, you value integrity. Keep those fundamentals throughout all, and not just when things are good. That's the challenge. One of the big challenges in life is to keep the integrity when things get tough, when the road gets rough, when nobody's watching. So please focus on, and that the integrity and the character is how we treat each other across racial lines, across any kind of, and that goes back to diversity and the inclusiveness. We need to treat everybody like we wish to be treated. And they sound very common phrases. I try and I work hard to ensure that I treat everybody the way I want to be treated. You know, and obviously I got that coming up in the church, but it's a great fundamental and one of the foundational pieces that I live by. That's pretty much, you know, the majority of my message. I did want to share with you, me being an active duty officer. You know, when you all were discussing, one of the presenters prior was discussing the fact that who was the first African American valedictorian. You know, in my line of work, you know, the United States Army was founded in 1775. There wasn't an African American officer until 1877. So it took over 100 years for the Army to integrate when they had African American, United States Army officers. So, and then it really, and then until 1940, which is less than, what's that, about 80 years ago, was the first Army general. Less than 80 years ago was the first African American general. And even now in 2022, African American officers make up only 10 to 11% of the commissioned officers in the United States Army. So it's a big responsibility for any African American officer when he puts on this uniform to move with the highest level of integrity, because we're being watched every day by the other 90% of the officers. And one of the responsibilities that I take on myself when I see any soldier, but particularly minority soldiers, is to provide leadership to them and mentorship and guidance, because there's such a small percentage of us, while all the time ensuring I'm being inclusive. That's really my message today. I hope that message went over well. I'm open to any questions if there's any questions by members of the audience, and I absolutely want to thank everybody for giving me their time and their attention. Alyssa, any questions?
If you guys have a question. They're thinking about it.
Don't be shy. I put a lot of information out there.
All right, we got a question back here.
All right.
How long did you serve in the Army?
Okay. How's it going? So, hey, thanks for the question. So I'm currently at 22 years. So I commissioned, yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I commissioned in 2001. But I was in the reserves prior for 2 years. So technically 2000 is when I raised my right hand and committed, and so since 2000 I've been an active duty Army officer.
Okay, we got another question over here. This is one of our teachers, Christina Ramirez.
All right.
Thank you for your service. My
Absolutely.
question for
Thank you.
you is, would you advocate for high schoolers that are interested in becoming an officer to go through a ROTC and ROTC program, or to do 4 years and then enlist? Or what do you think is the best path if someone is interested in becoming an officer, especially a woman?
Very good question. Please appreciate that, Ms. Ramirez. Great question. So I often advocate for high school students to go to college and do the ROTC program for 2 reasons. The first reason is to be a traditional college student, which is 17 to 21 or 18 to 22, you never get that time back. You get one opportunity to go and get your degree at that particular time in your life and get that undergrad experience. Number 2, and this is the honest, straightforward answer, a lot of people join the military for different reasons. I joined the military to take care of my mother. And the thing about going in as an Army, as an officer, the pay scale is higher. So, you literally triple the pay scale coming in as an officer. So you have, it's often, decisions we make are about, helping our families and taking care of people. So I'm able to provide more resources, both to my daughter, both to family and friends, by going through the ROTC program and commissioning as an officer.
How do you feel about serving as a black male at, how do you feel about serving as a black male under the same country that previously was pushing us down? Like, would you like are you you have to work in the system in order to change it person? Because honestly, is it okay if I keep it 100?
Yeah, keep it 100. Keep it 100.
Okay. I'm very nervous asking this because I know this is a very, I'm starting to get into sensitive territory here, but
Don't worry about it. You're good. We're good. We're good over here.
but like I know if I was finna talk like this, like use Ebonics and stuff, I wouldn't be received as linguistically as other people. Not only that, but in the school system, like for the map testing and everything, black people normally have lower scores than that. And just talking with Ebonics over the phone, like without any cameras or anything, according to the statistics, you normally get a lower response, like a lower positive response than other people. How do you, like, knowing all of that, how do you feel about serving in the Army?
Great question. I'm really, first of all, I want to give you the credit for stepping up and asking the question. I understand you were nervous initially, but it's an awesome question. And these are the kind of, somebody mentioned, we have to have the tough discussions, the hard discussions, the real discussions in order to move forward. And I'm well aware, as I mentioned, even now there's a small percentage of African American officers. I'm aware of the history of African Americans, Black, us. I'm aware of the history as far as the country here, as far as the United States. I have a couple pieces to the answer though. One of the pieces is this: we can't change the history. That's absolutely true, and it's absolutely happened. Another fact of the matter is this: as far as in the African American culture over the last 100 years, the military has been a resource to increase the standard of living for a lot of Black and brown people. So growing up in Buffalo, specifically the west side of Buffalo, I didn't have many options. I had the streets. I had being a professional athlete, which wasn't an option because I wasn't that gifted. And I don't know what, drug dealing, law enforcement, or possibly law enforcement. So what I didn't want to do, I didn't want to necessarily, when I was younger, I didn't want to be locking up people in my own neighborhood. That's why I didn't choose to be going to law enforcement. So the military presented itself as an organization that was helping other nations and helping people and working to secure the safety of the country. So I bought into that, and obviously, as I've been through my last 22 plus years, I've experienced a tremendous amount of racism in my organization, in the organization. And this is not like an opinion of mine. Back in November of 21, the Pentagon just came out with a study and said over the last 20 years, the military has a 0% increase in diversity and inclusiveness. This is a Pentagon study. So to answer your question, very challenging to be a part of any organization that, for lack of better words, fosters that. But I also understand that the military, like a lot of different organizations, are just microcosms of society. So what we have to do, to a point you mentioned, is I have to try to do my best to utilize the resources and the opportunities given to make my world better. When I say my world, I can't fix the world, but I can fix my community. I can't, like, I know for a fact Mr. Regis has put hundreds of kids in college and changed their lives. I know that. I participated in that. I put hundreds of kids through college and changed their lives. Young soldiers, I got them to step away from the military for a few years, get their degree, increase their quality of life, increase their standard of living. So there's sacrifices that we have to make. And there's sacrifice, and then we also, as minorities, the true fact is here, and this may be challenging, is that we have to be sometimes extremely dynamic. You have to be able to, okay, you speak Ebonics, I can speak Ebonics with you. Believe that. I'm good there. But I have to be able to go in boardrooms, and I have to be able to go to offices and meetings where I'm speaking to generals and high-ranking civilians from Arkansas, from Utah. And I have to be able to present what I need or what my soldiers need effectively. And young man, what's your name?
Aiden.
Aiden, you and everybody in that room there is gonna, black, brown, and or white American, is gonna have to be able to communicate effectively. And when you're in the room with maybe somebody that's not from your same environment, you're gonna have to be able to communicate effectively. So the bottom line, to sum that up, it's challenging, but I did it, and now my daughter and her friends, their quality of life will change, and we hopefully can continue to do this for generations and generations. I hope that's a good answer to your question.
All right. So that was all the questions that we'll have answered today. If you guys have more questions, just talk to me, and I can connect you with Major Howard. And we can get those
Absolutely,
answered.
that sounds good.
All right. So thank you so much for speaking for us, Major Howard. Let's give him one more round.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
All right. And we've got one more thing to close up our program.
All right, everyone. Next, we're going to hear the song, the Black National Anthem by Sahoni. So if you will all stand.
Wait. Why are we standing? Like, why do we have to stand?
It's the Black National Anthem. We're supposed to stand. Don't you know why?
Isn't it because of black people and slavery? I don't know.
Yeah, but not exactly. A long time ago in the 1900s, James Weldon Johnson wrote the Lift Every Voice and Sing poem for Abraham Lincoln for his birthday. And then later on, his brother, John Rosamond Johnson, made a song to it, and it became a very important song that made a lot of meaning to us. Black schools and churches embrace the song as an encouragement to not pass, like, the future, I guess, define the futures, and the NAACP even pronounced it as their official song. So, Batania, we stand out of respect and acceptance of the Black community because we're all equal and we have all our different talents. The Black National Anthem is a symbol of Black pride and perseverance, and our standing helps honor not only the African Americans who endured slavery, but the African Americans that we see every day in life.
Thank you for telling me about it, Naomi.
Lift every voice and sing to let them heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicings rise as bliss in the skies. Let it resound loudest through all Sing a song full of the faith that the darkness has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rise